Hello everyone, MFPallytime here, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 3. This is the beginning of our third campaign here on YouTube, and, well, in our first campaign we played Grimgore Ironhide. It was my very first time playing this. I knew I was interested in Total War, but the only reason I survived as long as I did was because of you guys leaving comments, helping me out every step of the way. Our second campaign was with my good friend Captain Shack, where I played Belagar the Dwarf, and, well, I learned even more during that campaign. So, I hope no one's disappointed by this. There are many characters in this game to play, tons of different factions, tons of different units. However, I want to go back and revisit Grimgore Ironhide, because I actually know how to play the game a little bit now, and I want to see just how drastically our campaign differs from what we experienced the first time. Even for a Black Orc, Grimgore's thirst for war was exceptional. If a single day went without a battle, Grimgore was known to start camp-decimating arguments, his one good eye blazing with eagerness to find fault and start a good scrap. 2 days without a battle and Grimgore would smite anything he could reach, save perhaps his fellow Black Orcs. No one knows for sure what would happen if 3 days without a battle ever occurred, but even scarred veterans tremble to think of it. This unquenchable thirst for battle is a sign that marks out a war boss for leadership, a sign that the orc is favored by Gork or Mork. In a hulking Black Orc with unmatched fighting skills and ferocity, it has marked out Grimgore for greatness. The prophet and the harbinger of Gork or Mork. As we load in, this is our territory. This is our mountain range. The mountain range we spent almost our entirety of our Grimgore campaign desperately trying to defend from attacks in every single direction. You see, last time I played this game, the idea of diplomacy was simply overwhelming. So I ignored everyone until they had a problem with me. And it turns out people got problems pretty fast. As far as the map, we're on the northeastern side. If we go a little further to the right, this is the Chaos Wastes north of us. And I thought it'd be fun for this campaign to kind of bring up my green screen, get it all nice and set up, and then we can have a little face-to-face time while we're on the map. And then when we jump into battles, get really cinematic, commentated like you know I like to do. And I think it should be a pretty good campaign. So starting things off, we have Grimgore Ironhide, as well as an army of Black Orcs. Oh yeah, I didn't need hide. A squad of Black Orcs, Orc Boys in a set of 3, Goblin Archers, 2 of those, the Orc Boy Biggins on Boarback, and the Doom Diver Catapults. That is my most expensive unit by a quarter mile. It's going to be quite a while until we're going to be able to make another one of those. If we go ahead and look at our build browser, you could see I have to get a tier 4 workshop to be able to make any more of those Goblin Diver Catapults. So we're going to have to protect those things as much as we can. If you've never played Total War Warhammer before, this is the Immortal Empires map. There are 275 factions, all vying for a spot to rule this land all at the same time. It's incredibly fun, and I hope this episode could also be a launch pad for any new players wanting to get off the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to add Scram Duruffy into our group. This is our second in command. We know Scram very well from our last campaign. Grimgore is then going to meet eyes with an orc nearby. We can see that this is a decisive victory for us. Our banners are already equipped, so we are good to go. Let's get into our very first battle. You hear that? The boys are ready for war. These are our orc faced towards the enemy at the top of a hill. We are the attacking team, so we are going to have to move in first. What you just witnessed was our front line. We also have our Goblin Archers standing right next to Grimgore, who is going to keep them safe. Catapults in the back, and Scram is going to take these orcs on boarback around the left side for hopefully a pretty good flank. The first battle's usually pretty easy, so let's get things started. We're going to select all, hold Alt, and then drag with left click just to get these guys into position a little bit easier. I told you I've been paying attention. What I don't need is my advisor talking in my ear all of the time. So if we hover over our units and click this little 3 stripe thing, I played for so many hours without knowing this existed. This allows us to get a snapshot of what our character is good at just at a glance without having to look at individual stats, something I highly recommend. So it looks like we're moving a little bit too far, so I'm going to have a form up right here. We are about to clash with the enemy team. As these orcs are pushing through the trees, we are going to lose sight of them for a moment. I'm just going to take these catapults and have them start launching right away, and then Scram and the orc are going to head into the tree line and just hit these guys on the left side as hard as we can. I'm going to have our melee boys just move up and start combat. We see some trolls heading up the front and some orc on boarback hitting us on the sides. Archers are going to focus the trolls down. Let's get rid of all of this excess UI over here, shall we? And send our boys into the trees. The enemy general is Golzag, and he's over on the left side. Maybe we just send in Grimgore over there pretty quickly. These trolls aren't going to hold up much longer, and the orc on boarback are being pushed away pretty quickly on the right side. Let's set our targets with Scram onto the enemy general and have Grimgore start to work his way over there as well. So far, this is looking really good. The only problem I see is archers shooting from the tree line at the moment, but these archers are actually going to have a lot of their shots intercepted by the trees that they are trying to take cover in. As we push back the trolls and they go to run away, we are going to send in some of our orc boys into the tree line as well to potentially cut off the escape of these archers as they go to run. As Grimgore's target dies, we're going to have him fixate onto the enemy general, and this fight should be over in just a matter of moments after that. Oh yeah, he's in there. He's in there. There's Grimgore right there. Big old swings onto the enemy general, sending shockwaves in every direction. Man, I miss seeing that axe in all of its glory. Well, it looks like that's all it took. The enemy is running away. And we won our very first battle of the campaign. Victory! Decisive victory, and that has been achieved. I looked through the settings, I couldn't figure out how to turn the talking head off. Because I lost everything on my PC, they do think this is my very first campaign, so I guess that is fair. I guess we'll take that. Barely any of our boys are injured, so I'm going to go ahead and take the gold on that one, stuff that money into our pockets a little bit faster. Now, Ice Spewer is just a short walk away, and this should be another decisive victory. I think I'll go ahead and just auto-resolve that one. This will give us our first 2 cities to work with. We could loot and occupy, and this would also heal our units a little bit, but we would have to rebuild because I took money from the other one. I feel like that's okay. Now, keep in mind, I'm no Total War expert, but at least now I can formulate my ideas and give you reasonings for why I'm making the decisions I'm making, which I feel like is at least a decent step in the right direction. My first building that I'm going to set up in Ice Spewer, which is the town we just took over, is going to be the Idols. This is going to increase our growth and also improve our casualty replenishment. Growth affects this region. I believe casualty replenishment is map-wide, although I'm not 100% on that. Grimgore's also going to need to do a little recruiting to buff up his army a little bit. Our choices are pretty limited at the moment, but I'm going to throw a lot of money at this all at once. We're going to get our line of shields up and running with these orc boys ready on the field as fast as possible. And then I think next turn I'm just going to recruit a line of goblin archers. We could speed up this recruitment a little bit if we really felt like we needed to, but I'm a day's walk at least away from Blizzard Peak, which is the next settlement we're going to need to take over to unite our region. So because of that, I know I'm going to have to move next turn, so I'll be able to recruit for another turn and hopefully fill out our roster a little bit more. If you've never seen this game before, when I decide to end my turn, which we should be able to do soon. Oh, let me tell you what I'm picking here. We're going for Root Master first, and then we're going to follow that up with... I do like Death from Below, because we are going to be using Underway quite a lot this time. We'll start with that. I might pick up some stuff from raiding too. I think that might be fun. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Other than that, this is Scram being upgraded right now. I'm going to get training for him, which I hope you can see. This is going to make it so that our units just level up faster if they are in his army, so we can get these guys up to full fighting force very, very soon. The only talent we can spend is in WA, and I do have a plan for my talents that I'll try to execute pretty quickly to hopefully give us a pretty big advantage on the war map for our overall sustain. But that is turn one. Let's roll this bad boy over. 275 factions at play right now. As we get back to our turn, we're still at a net positive of 996 gold every single turn, which is great. That means we haven't over leveraged our recruiting just yet. So I'm going to start to move towards Blizzard Peak. And above us is Kolek the Sun Eater. Last campaign, this guy gave us a ton of trouble. I'm thinking about starting early diplomatic relations with this guy. Now, he's part of the Chaos Waste group. I don't know if I really want to be friends with them, but I know for right now I don't want to be enemies with them. Something I want to point out as well is, I didn't know this last time we started our campaign, there's this red circle around these lands you could see here in the Chaos Wastes. That means this area is not inhabitable for us. Last time we spent so much time going after buildings that I couldn't really use to the full effectiveness, or cities rather, I couldn't really use. So we're not going to do that this time. However, I am going to extend a small payment towards the goat north of us. I mean, really, if you look at this, this guy's strength is 10. I don't even know how, because he only has one region. But I don't want problems with the 10th strongest guy on the map. So 800 gold, while it stings to lose this early, I'm hoping it'll buy me at least a bigger window of peace before he comes and attacks me. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. That's one thing I love about Immortal Empires, is every single campaign is different. Even if you start in the same area, things could change rapidly. So we move Grimgore to the east. With the rest of my turn, I am going to recruit some archers. Next turn, our goal is to hit Blizzard Peak and unite our starting territory. That'll give us some nice bonuses. We have just under 6,000 gold left after doing that. And I am going to pick up Go Bigger, which will increase our overall growth by +10, making it so our buildings can be upgraded even faster. That's all for turn two. Oleg's on the move, going east. Trying to remember who is to the east. Is it an ogre over there? Stay away from me, that's all I know. As turn 3 starts, I'm going to send yet another peace offering over. This is the smallest amount I can give, of 750, that he still likes it. Now, if this guy wants non-aggression packs and stuff like that, I don't think I'm really interested in that. But for now, I at least want him to like me. And if we hover over this face right here, you can see we're going from -7 this turn to 9 next turn. So we're literally above positive. That's like the best I could ask for right now. Although it has been a little expensive. But because he's kind of buddies with these guys, you can see my relations with... Who is this guy? What faction is this? I literally don't... The Golgin Norska. We're already improving with him just because we're helping relations with his buddy. Now, there has been an orc, the Fulatif, that has been trying to evade me since I've started moving east. and he has taken shelter inside of Blizzard Peak. Well, don't you know, that's the last place that Grimgore needs to start his campaign on the right foot. So this is a pretty easy decision. We're going to walk up. I don't think this will be a difficult fight at all, although it does say close victory. Let's see how close it actually is, shall we? Almost clicked auto restop. Nice recovery. Grimgore and his odd boys are set up kind of on the low ground right now, getting ready to run up this hill and meet their opponents head on. Now, we do have a slight problem. The enemy is going to have reinforcements, so I've chosen to make a pretty defensive layout here. You can see all around the outside, we have our orc boys. These are our guys with shields that are going to be pushing forward and holding the line. On the tips of the flanks, we have the orc boars and the black orcs, who are going to make sure nothing kind of spills over the sides. Tucked away safely in the middle, all of our goblin archers should be able to fire at will. But the real goal here is going to be just to inch up our catapult enough that we can get in range of our opponents. As you can see, we are slightly short of that at the moment. Now, that being said, Artivolity doesn't really have to advance here. We are the attacking force after all. He could fall back and wait for reinforcements. Let's see what they do as we get things underway. I'm just going to move forward a little bit. It looks like they are indeed backing up. If they group up with their reinforcements, we'll be able to just kind of nail them all at once. So I don't think I actually hate that. And it looks like the reinforcements are actually already here, which is super quick. So we are going to be fighting two armies at once from the get-go. Let's advance a little bit further as a group, maybe shift to the side a little bit more as well. Get everyone in position for this big battle that's about to happen. I'm going to speed this up as we're advancing. I don't think the enemy team is going to push forward towards us anytime soon. One thing they are doing is taking the high ground very quickly, and we are starting to see some of their calves on the move heading towards our right flanks. But luckily for us, everyone is in position and ready. We're going to have some of our archers just kind of start to shoot in that direction if they can get in range. If they can't, we're going to call them back into formation. No reason to be hasty with that. We're going to have our black orcs in the back ready to intercept if these guys go for the catapults. But here we go. The front is advancing. Grimgore is in position, and let's make sure Scram is not too far behind as well. Keeping an eye on that flank. This is just Goblin Wolf Riders, so our Black Orcs should be more than capable of dealing with these guys. The catapults are starting to sling damage into our enemies, and here we go. We're about to clash on the front lines. I'm going to have a lot of my archers focus this giant on the right. Because he's a big target, he can't really take cover. And Grimgore is just going to lock into combat with the enemy team's general all at once. We did manage to catch the wolves as they tried to flank around. Some of our orc boys doing the same thing. I know my troops are under fire. This is a battle. I chose to do this. Our orc boys are holding pretty well. I'm going to send these guys, you know, they're doing okay. They can stay there. These might want to start flanking around. We have a lot of fire on to the giant right now, but he still seems to be winning. So let's get Scram in there to even the odds a little bit. Now that some of our front line is falling back, we're going to have these orcs on the side just move in to replace them. Grimgore's still doing good damage. Let's make sure we're using his ability. We're going to try to hex the enemy general so he deals less damage, but we continue to deal more. Let's get some of our archers kind of focus firing on the left side here. And let's see if we can intercept anything with our boar riders now that things are kind of getting underway. I'm going to move these archers back just a little bit and get our front line just in there to intercept. And it looks like the wolf riders are doing a lot on the back line. or they're not doing a lot. They're kind of running away at the moment, looking for another intro. Grimgore's doing great over here, still looking super healthy. This front line is starting to get a little scary, so I'm going to send the Black Orcs in very quickly. Have our archers focus that Wolf Rider on the right side, and hopefully start to make this front line look a little better. It is starting to get a little gross. The archers are fine, focusing down the wolves, no problem. The left side is starting to crumble a little bit, so let's get some more archers focusing the enemy general here. Hopefully none of these guys overlapping at the moment. The giant that our goblins were focusing earlier is running away, filled full of sticks at the moment. Our front line is almost there. The orcs are on the way, and let's use Grimgore's Wah! This is going to make all of the weapon damage across my army deal even more. Let's separate these guys a little bit here. Overlapping is never fun. And as our front line is starting to re-rally, let's get them back on the front line. I'm also going to have our catapults kind of fire into the biggest group over here on the right. Grimgore has not laid a hand onto the enemy general yet. He got tied up with some other enemies, so let's try to change that. Where are our flankers? Get in there, boys. Hit those archers right in the side if you can. Our Black Orcs are holding the front, starting to move into melee combat now. Grimgore has locked eyes with the enemy. We're going to hit them with another hex, reducing their damage even more. Grimgore at the moment is surrounded on all sides, so let's get our archers shooting into this cluster a little bit faster to help free him. Although I'm fine with these archers shooting over there. Leadership across the board for the enemy is getting low. Once we deal the final blow to their commander, things should really start to move towards our side pretty quickly. Some of my units have kind of slipped through the cracks, haven't been microing everything quite as well as we should, but look at that leadership start to break. Everyone is running away. They have lost complete faith in their leader, and it looks like Grimgore's army is about to get a little bigger. And with that, victory has been achieved. The reason I say our army is about to get bigger is because orcs have a kind of unique feature, a campaign feature, where if you kill the leader of another orc army, well, you're the strongest and you're the biggest. So the other green skin may come to you. Because we took such a beating in this fight, I'm going to loot and occupy. That is going to damage some of the buildings here, and we are going to have to rebuild them. But we'll form a confederacy with that orc. Scram just got upgraded to have his boar back. We should know how good that was. We use that all of the time. I'm going to fix up these buildings, finish recruiting for Grimgore as well, which I think just means getting one more of each of the front line. We could get some spear guys. I'm not too worried about that. Although spears are not anti-large, I'm thinking about maybe attacking some ogres soon. So anti-large might be good in that situation. With that confederation, we also get a city inside of the granite spikes. We just took this over. It's currently set up with a pile of shiny stuff, meaning it's generating us more gold each turn. If we fix this up, we're going to have another pile of shiny stuff here. And our growth is actually looking really, really good. Let's see what else we need to complete this turn. I do like the idea of looting a lot. I know if we want to build up our WA faster, we want to be ravaging, but because looting not only gives us a little bit of gold, it's also replenishing our troops as they fight stuff. I feel like putting a couple points into that wouldn't be that bad. Ideally, what we're trying to do here is unlock Ironhide as soon as possible. Look at that casualty replenishment rate that we would get with that. It's actually so huge. That is so good. That's such a good talent. That's the one thing I really started to appreciate more with subsequent playthroughs after our first one, is just how good the campaign line of buffs can be. Now, that being said, things are looking pretty good for Scram. He already has training, so we probably don't need to do anything down there. He just got his war boar, so if we can get him dead on, and then devastating charge, it'll just allow him to synergize with that war boar a little bit more. As far as what I want to do with the region, I'm covering this up with my face. We have a few options now that we have united everything. And what I am going to go for is Camp Ruckus. This is going to improve our control, which, as you can see, is not great at the moment. And with that control, it's also going to improve our growth, which if you look over here on this little hourglass, we're growing pretty fast in this region. Let's roll it over to the next turn. As turn 4 begins, we get a good look at Saber Mountains. Population has not been increased yet. Grimgore and his boys are looking really healed down here. So I kind of want to make a move. I don't want to sit idle if everyone's looking good. Ideally, I wanted to finish a couple buildings first, but let's get into that underway stance. A few factions have access to this. It allows us to move under map obstacles. So you could see here with his normal campaign movement, I can get to right about here with Grimgore if I wanted to push on Gorger Rock, which I do. These ogres are going to die. However, if I use underway, boom, we're right next door. Either way, we would be able to attack next turn, but it allows us to get there a little bit faster. It does look like a couple of my units are damaged, but Gorger Rock's days are numbered. Next turn, 263 factions still standing. The Flesh Greeters, those were the guys just north of me. Kolek has taken territory. Hopefully we've paid him off enough that he doesn't hate us. It does say it's still improving, but I expected that number to be a little bit higher by now. Let's give him one more payment at least. That's 1,000 gold. Hopefully invested well. If he attacks me, yeah, we'll just deal with it. We'll try to fight back. One of the things I said with our first campaign is I hope you guys keep tuning in for the drama. I feel like I know enough about the game just to get myself in trouble these days. This is the ogre faction that belongs to, is this Fulg? Is that the name of the faction? Targog is their commander. It looks like these guys don't own a ton of territory, only 2 settlements, and they're located south of my starting area. So if I can hit this settlement and then move southwest and hit this one, we will unite our second region, which would be sick to do this early in the game. So let's declare a little war on the ogres, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we think that is the right decision. This says a decisive victory. Let's get in on the ground. Boys, there's one ogre. There's one Why is there just one? Why is it just one? He does have reinforcements coming from the back, but we might be able to, like, just rush this guy down and hope for the best. Wow, our formation is identical to last time. Is that a thing? Does it save formation? I guess it's a little different. We have some new units in here. Just stick them in. That's nice. That's a good feature. I'm a fan. Well, boys, let's stay locked in if we can and march it forward. I want you guys to all attack him when we get close. Enemy reinforcements are already approaching, so while we did have the jump on this guy, unfortunately, it's not going to go too much further. Let's get Grimgore in the front. Everyone is advancing to directly meet this guy on the open field. Let's just have our catapults stop whenever they can get in range to deal some damage to these grouped up units. There are a lot of ogres making their way in from the back line right now, and I hope that we are ready. Okay. Our line is approaching. Honestly, we're going to clash at about the same time. Ogres are fast, dude. Look at these guys booking it. Catapults should be in range really soon. Hopefully, yes, he is encroaching on the line right now as our team is still walking forward. This ogre is a wizard. I wasn't aware that these guys could even cast magic.
The enemy command the high ground.
Yeah, I know they're on the high ground. Thank you, Tutorial Man. Tutorial Man, I don't need you. I really don't need you. Grimgore is walking up first to meet the enemy head on. Let's see how he trades with everyone. Every single opponent here is a favorable trade, and we start to see the goblin gliders coming in with their landing. Pretty good accuracy, hitting those ogres right in the side. I don't want Grimgore to walk into a trap here, so let's call him back just a little bit. Does seem like they're starting to group up a bit more. Let's figure out this formation now. I want you guys to stop just a couple feet ahead of where you are. Let's get our... Oh, I don't think our boars are actually going to be too good here, but look at this. We trade favorably with a lot of this stuff. Even the ogre bulls on the left side. We might need to worry... No, spears even we trade favorably with. Well, let's get Scram over here with his orc boars, and they can move around the battlefield together. We're holding formation, just kind of peppering these guys with catapults right now. That is good. That's not something I feel like I need to change. Let's start hitting some of these smaller units here, and Scram and our orc boars can head around to the left side. Let's get Grimgore up to the front line. We are about to clash here. We trade favorably with a lot of this stuff, but let's move the black orcs up to a flanking position. We can make sure nothing squeaks by on the right side, which it kind of looks like they're trying to do at the moment. Now, Scram is super strong once he gets a few levels into him, but we don't have a few levels just yet. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to go ahead and hex the enemy general as he does reach combat, reach our front lines. Here's the hex right now. There we go. It's cast, and I'm going to get Grimgore over there immediately. We also have some holes that are about to break in the front, so I'm going to send more of our defensive line just as backup here. And all of our archers on the right side are going to target the enemy general, while all of our archers on the left side thin these nobblers, while Scram and everyone else holds the left. So we've already contained this army. This is already looking pretty good, if I'm just being honest. Grimgore walking up to the general now. His days are numbered. We're already seeing his leadership at half as he's getting railed into. Let's make this even better, sending in our black orcs to flank the ogres that are standing by his side. Already their leadership is running away, broken and afraid, and the rest of the units seem to be following that trend here pretty soon, or at least it's looking that way. Very proud of my archers. Let's make sure we clean these lines up a little bit. Don't want you guys overlapping. Overlapping is really bad. I could set them up so they don't pursue targets. I think there's a setting to toggle skirmish mode off by default for archers. I should probably look into that in between episodes. The enemy general is slain. Yes, indeed. So that means the army's days are numbered. As some of them are starting to rally to move back, they will be cut down swiftly. And it looks like victory is Grimgore's yet again. Decisive victory. We also got the Sword of Striking, which I feel like would be pretty good on Scram. Can I give Scram stuff like that? I think I can, right? I like the idea of looting and occupying, but we didn't take too much damage, so I'm not even going to break anything. We're going to keep everything intact and hold that for Grimgore's army. Kolek is kind of pointed towards us. Should I be worried about that? I think any sane person would be. So we're going to start to build a second army here pretty quickly. We'll get, I could say Argor's name easier. Although Tiefrab is kind of fun. Sure. Disciplined is plus leadership. Recruitment costs for orc biguns and black orc units. Yes, Argor is our guy. That is awesome. So, Grimgore's army is already full. We're still making 852 gold every turn with 11,000 gold set aside in our war chest at the moment. I believe we've already paid this guy this turn. Let's check how our... Oh, that's good. That's really good. We're improving a lot. I'm very happy to see that. So, let's get Argor built up. We're going to do pretty similar things as what we did before. To go along with that, what I'm going to do is upgrade Saber Mountain to be level 2. The reason we're doing Saber Mountain is, number one, it's our capital city. But because we already have the muster fields, we'll be able to get the Brawling Grounds in 3 turns when that's done. And the Brawling Grounds has better units for what we're trying to do. Direct upgrades for our Goblin Archers. And then at level 3, we have direct upgrades to our front line. And level 4, we get those black orcs that both of my commanders want to command. That is very, very good. For now, his army is basically going to be the same as what we have already, except without siege equipment because we can't build any more yet. So we're going to start by recruiting a line of our orc boys. That is going to cost us a fair amount of money to do that. We might be dipping deep into the war chest, but our faction's looking pretty strong at the moment. Grimgore is a 2-day walk away from eradicating this ogre faction. We have an army building up to the north to protect us, just in case Kolick isn't our friend. But all signs are looking pretty okay. And we've almost built up our first WAH. All in episode 1. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We're gonna try to release videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just like we did with our previous series. Get you guys back on that schedule, and hopefully there's no more computer problems that take me off of my schedule. I want to make content again. Thanks, guys. See you again soon. Goodbye.